Hi there, it's Gary from CoolSmartphone.com, and today I've got another unboxing for you. It is, of course, from OnePlus. Now this time around we have the OnePlus Nord2 5G. Really looking forward to getting into this, so without further ado, let's dive in. So here it is, folks, the OnePlus Nord2 5G. Just have a wee look on the side there. Meet OnePlus Nord. And then just a whole load of little marketing speech. This, I have to advise, is not a retail packaging. So let me just get it out of its external box. It's very nice though. I do love this blue colour. So in here, as you can see, we do have a phone and we've got a couple of review unit cases as well. So we'll get the cases out first of all. Just grab all three. So we've got our traditional sandstone black case. Let me just pop the camera up a wee bit more. There we go. So that's the traditional sandstone black. I do like these cases, they're quite grippy, quite nice. Oh, that sounds a little bit different. This is called a doodle case. Don't know if this is going to be a special edition for the launch of the phone, but yeah, definitely worth checking that one out as well. I don't think this has the same textured finish. And then one for a little bit more colour in your life. Again, this is a sandstone bumper case, but it's called Desert Mirage, and it's got a nice blend between that lovely teal blue colour that's been traditional with the Nord into a very vibrant orange. Move those over to the side for the moment and get on to the main event, which is the Nord2 5G from OnePlus. Now I did have a Nord 1 very briefly and I did like it. However, I ended up going back to using a Samsung phone for whatever reason, don't know why. But I'm really excited about this one because this has some features that I was really keen on in the OnePlus 9 series, but more on that in a bit. Right at the back, we can see that we do have a OnePlus Nord2 5G. When that comes into focus, there we go. We've got the 12 gig RAM one and 250 gigabytes of storage, and we've got it in Grey Sierra. Usual stickers on there. However, this one is a bit new, powered by MediaTek Dimensity. Now, this is the first time that a OnePlus phone has been powered by that MediaTek chipset. Try and get it to focus again. There we go. So, exciting times. MediaTek have done a lot of work with OnePlus in the development of this phone. And that is, of course, in the development of the MediaTek 1200 AI chipset. So we'll just leave the phone off to the side for the moment, and let's see what else we get in the box. So in traditional OnePlus style, we do have a clear bumper case. Looks like it's got a little bit of design detail there, which is nice. These cases are really handy to have, in case you don't, like me, get a full bevy of cases to choose from. In here we've got our OnePlus pin, which that's apparently meant to look like a smiley face. And then once I mentioned smiley faces, we've got a whole load of smiley faces from the team that developed the phone, that's quite a nice touch. On the other side of that, we do have a little letter from OnePlus, as is the way. And that is actually addressed from the Nord team. So it's not the normal one you get from the owner. Do have a little quick start guide in there, we're not going to read that. And we've got the safety information, which we're not going to read that either. Pretty much the same sort of information you get with any new phone these days. So we'll just pop that all away. What else do we get in the box? We get our traditional red charging cable. I love these charging cables, they're really solid. I'm still using my first one that I got from my OnePlus 6T back in the day. Really like these. Glad they've kept the colours as red as well, because it makes it really easy to identify. And then something I'm really quite pleased which is quite sad, you get a Warp Charge 65 adapter. Now, what's not to love about that? How could you make it even better? Well, you could by giving me a UK version of the plug as well. Traditionally, when I get phones in for review, I tend to get the European variants, so I get a European variant style plug. However, this is the UK 3-pin plug. Us out here in the UK all on our lonesome. Really good to see. USB Type A on one end, and obviously with that cable is USB Type C on the other end. That is enough chat about boxes of accessories though. Let's get into the main event and why we're all here. So, this is the OnePlus Nord 5G, to give it its full name. And as I mentioned here, we do have the Grey Sierra one. As you can see straight away from the back, there is very, very similar design language here as we've seen on the OnePlus 9 series of phones up until recently. So let's quickly go through the camera sensors on the back. At the top here we have a 50 megapixel camera, which was the same camera used on the OnePlus 9 series. This is a Sony IMX766 sensor, which has a f/1.88 aperture, optical image stabilization, and all of the other phase detection, autofocus, CAF, don't really know what that means, focus, and it will also do full 4K video, 1080p video and 720p video, and all the relevant slow motion effects, time-lapse effects and things like that that you would want from a flagship camera phone. Although OnePlus are not actually talking about this as a flagship camera. Below that we do have a 8 megapixel ultra wide, which has a field of view of 119.7 degrees, and it has electrical image stabilization. It also has an aperture of f/2.25, so pretty good in terms of what you can expect from that. And then down the bottom here we have our mono lens, which is a 2 megapixel unit with an aperture of f/2.5. So it'll be interesting to see what we can get from that. Up front we do have a front facing camera, and this is a first for OnePlus in the fact that it's a 32 megapixel unit, and it is a Sony based sensor. And if you bear with me a moment, I will tell you what it is. It's a Sony IMX615, and again it has electrical image stabilization, and it is aperture of f/2.45. Now the pixel size for this device is 0.8 Ultra M, whatever that means. And on the rear we do have a pixel size of when it comes up 1.0 UM. Also incidentally, the main lens at the back is a 6-part lens system as well. In terms of available storage, we have the version I've got here, which is the 12 gig RAM and 256 gigabyte of storage. That is UFS 3.1 storage, and it's also available as a 6 gig or 8 gig RAM version, and they will both come with the 128 gigs of storage. Inside here we do have a 4,500 milliampere battery, which is ably supported by that 65 watt warp charge that we saw earlier. And we do have that MediaTek Dimensity 1200 AI backed up by an ARM G77 MC9 GPU. I'm really excited to see what this Dimensity can do. I've heard reports that it is going to be similar in terms of power as the 860, 865 series from Snapdragon, but with the integration of 5G directly on the chipset. It is of course running Android 11 out of the box, and that is Color OS 11.3, and it will get software updates for 2 full system updates, so Android 12 and Android 13, and it will also get security updates for the following 3 years. We do have a fluid AMOLED screen measuring in at 6.43 inches diagonal with a resolution of 2400 x 1080p pixels for a PPI of 410. If I power it up now, our aspect ratio is 20:9 with a refresh rate of 90 Hz, and it will support sRGB and display P3, if that means anything to you. Inbuilt into that display, we've got a couple of other cool bits and pieces, and this is assisted by that Dimensity 1200 AI chip. We have video enhancement, AI super resolution, and daylight readability enhancement, so you should be able to see this in the sun, which is useful considering it is really sunny outside as I'm doing this video. In terms of height, we're 158.9 mil to the top, 73.2 across, and thickness of 8.25 mil, and it weighs 189 grams, so we'll call it 190 just to be on the safe side. So now that I've gone through all those bits and pieces, I want to show you how this compares with a couple of other devices that I have lying to hand. As I mentioned, I got rid of my Nord originally to replace it with a Samsung device, and here is the one I replaced it with. So this is the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. This has been used and abused for the last year or so, and has been my daily driver for quite some time. Now, as you can see, the size comparison between the two devices, the OnePlus Nord2 is not actually that much different in terms of size. It is a little bit shorter and a little bit thinner, but in terms of thickness, the Nord2 is actually slightly thicker. In terms of weight, this is certainly heavier. Moving on to something a little bit more up to date. Now, the next device I'm going to show you, it bears remarkable similarity, and the reason for that is this is the Realme 8 Pro that recently came onto the market. There is a full review of this on the Cool Smartphone website, incidentally, and this one is a little bit taller, but in terms of width and screen size, very similar. In terms of actual thickness, I would say they're probably around about the same. However, on the back of the devices, we do see some significant differences. So we do have a plastic finish to the Realme 8, whereas I'm not sure if this is glass, but it is a slightly smoother finish. And obviously the camera arrays are very different, this being a 108 megapixel camera, this being a 50 megapixel camera. There is also a couple of differences in terms of what ports are available, because we have a 3.5mm headphone jack on this, whereas on the OnePlus Nord2 we do not. Still, we've got the USB Type-C, which is good, but enough on that. The last device I want to show you is my current daily driver, purely because I wanted to play with Android 12 Beta, and this is the Pixel 4a 5G. So you can see the Pixel 4a 5G is a smaller device overall, and it is plastic through and through, which isn't a bad thing by any means, but the screen size is smaller. Just bring them into shot, and it's a little bit, probably about the same thickness, but we do have a smaller screen, and we've only got the 2 cameras on the back as opposed to 3 on the OnePlus. Whether that third camera makes much of a difference, well, the jury's out on that one. We'll have to wait and see. Big other change is this has a rear mounted fingerprint reader, whereas on the OnePlus we do have an under-screen fingerprint reader. Now, the OnePlus's fingerprint readers have always been very good. Incidentally, the phone I'm filming this on at the moment is the recently reviewed Realme GT 5G, which is Realme's current flagship. That does also have a fingerprint reader, and I would be very surprised to find if they weren't the same, because Realme is owned by BPK, as is OnePlus. So if the fingerprint reader to go by on that is anything to go by, then the one on the Nord 2 will also be very good. Now, the last thing I need to do is I just need to pick out what case I'm going to put this on. I think you will have been able to figure this out already, because I have a tendency to go for a little bit left field, a little bit crazy. So I'm going to go with the Doodle case. Whether or not I'll keep that on for a long time, we don't know. But I'm just going to pop that on. While I'm doing that, I would encourage you to like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already done so. You guys do help keep this site going, and we do this for you. There will be a full written report of this unboxing, and also there will be a full review going up on the Cool Smartphone website. There's also been reviews of the Realme GT 5G, the Realme 8 Pro, and fairly soon there's going to be reviews of the Realme 8 and Realme 8 5G. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest that's coming in the terms of smartphones, especially in the mid-range, as that's where we seem to be focusing at the moment, please do hit us up over there, under there, wherever the subscribe button is, and we'll keep you in the loop. Thanks very much for your time, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.